Alright, so in this episode, do you call it the zombie apocalypse? I feel like the better term is the HIE apocalypse. This episode, that's really what it was, and I quite enjoyed it. What's up guys, it is Ranger Flame, and welcome everyone to Beatless. Today we're on episode 13. In this episode, right off the bat, we kind of get a little bit of the preview of what happened to Yuka. That's finally her name, that's Arto's sister's name. I always keep forgetting, but I finally remembered. That's her name there. Her and Lacia, it's kind of like at the little bit of a point before the apartment gets destroyed by Methody, kind of what they were talking about here and there. Afterwards, we see Yuka get captured. Lacia in a fight with Methody. Really, she was protecting Yuka, so she was damaged, so she lost the fight there. But mostly in this episode, we legit see an HIE apocalypse that's actually controlled by Snowdrop, which I thought Snowdrop would be working with Mr. Watari and Methody, but really she just wanted the power for herself. That's kind of why, or the surviving in the human world, that's kind of what Snowdrop has to do to survive. So she's kind of just controlling the city by herself, you know, wanting the power and everything like that. But in this, it kind of was a zombie apocalypse or an HIE apocalypse. So we see Rio and Aruto kind of going back and forth to them meeting up at the park, and then afterwards going towards the mall to get supplies to defend themselves. And with it in this episode, you know, we kind of get the same as Rio right here. Like, it's a big change of like the big decision that Aruto needs to make right here. You know, Yuka, his little sister, is captured, but knowing from Aruto, he thinks of HIEs like humans, like they deserve to be in a world together. But kind of the big thing, and I agree with Rio at this part right here, that yes, you love Lacia, but to get Yuka back, like your own sister, your own family back, you have to trade Lacia to Meme Frame to get your sister. And with Aruto right there, he kind of like thinks of a plan of getting them, you know, both, like getting Yuka back and having Lacia still with them. But, you know, kind of at that point, I kind of agree with Rio. Like, I feel like this is getting into, you know, Aruto's head a little bit. I kind of, you know, understand like his point of view, but at the same time, like with Rio and Kengo of, you know, who are you going to protect, right? Are you going to protect humans? Or are you going to protect HIEs? And when it comes to family parts like that, like Rio was right on the answer there. The mall subject, you know, kind of with Rio and Aruto at the mall, we kind of see a point of Methody coming in, and Rio, you know, kind of, I felt like this wasn't like kind of like a sacrifice life, you know, you kind of see those like in movies, or if it's like a zombie apocalypse or whatever, it's always one guy staying behind while the others move on. That's kind of reminded me of what Rio was doing with Aruto, meeting up with this little HIE kid, which acted a little bit like human. At first, I thought the little kid was human, but it wasn't HIE. You know, this whole town is HIEs except for, you know, Aruto and Yuka's dad and maybe some other workers and etc. like that. But either way, you know, Aruto bonds, you know, with this kid because he feels, like I said before, that HIEs are like humans and that you should protect them as well. They get into, you know, the big building. Like, this is where kind of the mother computer is, if that's where I could put it. There's another word for it, but I kind of think of it as, you know, just a mother computer, the one that's kind of controlling all the HIEs around outside. They finally get to that part, and we see Snowdrop right there. Like, it was Snowdrop controlling, you know, I guess the mother computer. A big important HIE that Koka destroyed a couple episodes back. It's just kind of her and a brain in the computer. You know, Snowdrop, you know, kind of covers all that. She's thinking of how to really control it all right here. And we see Mr. Watari pop up with, you know, of course, Aruto's sister Yuka, making an exchange that, you know, he was really just coming here to discover, you know, Snowdrop's abilities. Like, he wants all the red boxes. Like, he wants Lacia, he wants Snowdrop. We haven't really seen anything from Koka yet, but I'm pretty sure that he wants Koka, and he already has Methody as well. So he kind of wanted to come here just to, you know, really absorb Snowdrop's power, and afterwards kind of make an exchange with her, because we see now it's confirmed that Snowdrop actually doesn't have you know, a partner or a host, just like Methody, or well, Koka doesn't either yet, but I feel like she will get one soon. And well, Aruto has Lacia, but you know, she kind of discovered that Snowdrop doesn't need, you know, a host or a partner or anything like that. She can get through like kind of life by herself. She knows what she's doing, so she's kind of like a thing by herself. But you know, we kind of see with Mr. Watari, like him and Methody are the villains. You know, they want to get all the red boxes to maybe even control the world or something like that. I'm not really too sure. But we see, you know, the big thing in this episode. You know, it gets to that point, the exchange that Rio was talking before at the start of the episode, of having you to choose between Yuka and Lacia. And in my mind right here, when Aruto was kind of, you know, debating, like, he wasn't even talking for a second. Like, he was thinking this over, and I'm like, Aruto, what are you doing, my man? That's your little sister right there having a gun pointed to her head. She's a human being, even though you love Lacia. but she's an HIE, you know, like she's an android, she's a robot. Like, even though you had a connection with her, your younger sister is at gunpoint right now. Like, what are you doing? But then Lacia, you know, comes out and makes that decision that she goes to meme frame, and you know, Yuka goes back to Aruto. And this is the big moment, the big part of this episode that, you know, covered in episode 1. You know, like going to the Beatless, we know that these two will have a connection. And knowing from every single episode, there's always hints of Aruto and Lacia, you know, having that conversation or being together. And in this episode, Aruto lets it out. You know, we finally see it. He, you know, puts his feelings out right there that he loves Lacia. And it was kind of predictable, but it was kind of surprising. Like, I knew he would eventually say that in Beatless. And at that moment right now, he did. And we know that from Beatless. And I feel like, just like in the show in general, you know, even though that, you know, Lacia is an HIE, I feel like she'd eventually like somehow turn human or something like that, or have emotions. And that's kind of was in this episode right here. And she was going towards having a new owner, you know, Mr. Watori controlling her instead of Aruto. And she kind of rips that software out, that if a human, you know, puts a finger, scans it, you put all your information, you become that HIE's owner. She rips it out, so no matter what, if Aruto dies, she can't have a new owner. Something that really surprised me, and I guess Mr. Watori as well, because, you know, it's an HIE, you know? It's an HIE, they're not really supposed to have emotions or feelings or anything like that, but in the episode, she did that by herself, you know, through her own free will. So it's her developing as a character, you know, having a family, and even liking Aruto right there. So that was a pretty cool moment. I feel like that was the best part of, you know, today's episode. And one little thing I want to talk about before we kind of move on to the endings episode, which was really crazy, by the way, was when Lacia was kind of looking for Aruto at the start of the episode when she was still in the apartment before it blew up, was she was able to control or look in the minds of every single HIE that was part of the city. So like if a random HIE is at the park, she could be like in that HIE's head looking around, seeing what she or he or whatever HIE is to find Aruto, which was pretty cool, but a little bit creepy. But I just find it kind of cool just because that's kind of more character development and what kind of Lacia has, I guess, for powers. So that was really interesting. I thought I had to bring that up right there. Then we get to the part as well, this is the big part of the episode of you know, Aruto meeting that little kid. You know, all the rest of the HIEs that weren't kind of zombies or whatever you want to call them were coming in to help each defeat, you know, the zombie HIEs and etc. like that. So it's kind of, you know, still Aruto bonding with the HIEs, you know, them thinking as humans. And then we get to the big part of today's episode. And it was actually at the end of the episode. You know how they show like maybe just a little bit after the credits, and then afterwards we get the preview for next. That little part right there got me so much. It was freaking crazy how we, like, I think it was only for like 15-20 seconds, we see Aruto look, and Mr. Watori is dead on the floor. He is dead. He is gone. I'm like, what just happened? We see Rio come out and we're like, okay, Rio's fine, you know? We saw him, you know, being with Methody, and he's all right. Like, I thought, like, maybe he was going to be hurt or something like that. But afterwards, he comes out, like, Methody comes out of the shadows and is with Rio. And it's like, what? What? So Methody got a new owner. Like I said, for her to survive in this world, it's to get more owners, and afterwards just throw the trash away. Just like how she did with Rio's sister. But now she killed Mr. Watori off, and Rio is the owner of Methody now. Rio now the enemy in this episode? Or like in this series, sorry? Like, it completely surprised me, because he's like talking about how he kind of wants power in that now. And I don't even know if he even like kind of knows that Methody did this to his sister. Like, why his sister's in the hospital now and that she almost died. So I'm hoping that Aruto like tells him that or something like in the future. So we have Lacia and Aruto versus Rio and Methody now in this series. Best friends and two sisters. You know what, Beatless? Out of your stupid recaps that we have every 5 episodes or 4 episodes or something like that, I give you props for this. This definitely was a turnaround. This is something that I did not expect at all. It's definitely, I always hate going to dark sides, but I feel like that's just what Beatless is going. You know, Methody as that villain character, and now Rio that we have. Like, I didn't know Rio would even have a character like this. I didn't even know that he would even become something like this. So that's just really interesting, and then it covers up like that, and then we'll get episode 14, of course, next week. But definitely this episode today, guys, I was really happy about it. And they just need episodes like this, man. Like, if they're doing that 5 recap crap every single time, they gotta have this, because these episodes here kind of revive it just a little teeny tiny bit. Like, just a little teeny tiny bit, but still, it's up there. You know, I smiled all the way through. I was happy about it. It's definitely something that I would keep watching all the time. And with this episode here today, guys, I think this is my highest review rating for Beatless out of all the episodes that's come out this year so far. I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10, guys. I definitely feel like, you know, this episode is definitely worth up there. I think it's worth watching. I smelled all the way through. It had some points. It had some character development, you know, from Glacia and Aruto, but it was good. Yeah, I'm ready for next episode. I don't know if it's going to beat this episode, but it's definitely, you know, these kind of episodes. You know, every time in anime, you always get those hype episodes. Finally, in this anime, it gets out a hype episode for me personally. But hope you guys enjoyed my review today. Comment down below what your guys' favorite part of today's episode was if you watched it. Like the video if you guys can, and subscribe to the channel if you guys haven't already. And we'll see you guys next week for another Beatless review. Hope you guys all have a wonderful day, and we'll see you later.